Building on our understanding of keywords, an important principle in the development of your keyword strategy is an understanding of the keyword long tail. Now, the long tail is a fairly simple concept, and once you grasp it, it will be exciting as you research the types of words that people use. The keyword long tail is based on the principle that people don't search the same way. There are trends, there are words that are searched on more than others, but there are always variations in the way people search, and people have specific intent. And we want to align our intent and the intent of the customers to our content. So let's start exploring the different ways people search and how that creates what we call the long tail effect. You see, when people are searching for something like family vacations, and I'm using a keyword tool called keyworddiscovery.com. And what it is I just type in the word family vacations, and it shows me all the related search phrases that include that phrase. So while the majority of people search on that term, once I start looking at all the variations of it, I see that there are a lot of ways that people search. Again, people are searching not the same way. They have different intent and different variations. So we want to start evaluating that. Now, when we look at that keyword list of family vacation, one thing that's vitally important to see is that when I typed in family vacation to get all of the ways that people use that phrase, there are over 11,000 variations of search phrases that use family vacation as the core word. 11,000 variations. That's what starts our long tail. That means there are 11,000 different ways that people have searched for family vacations. And even if we just choose one, a family beach vacation, we get a whole new list of over 400 ways that people have searched for family beach vacation and all the different ways that they search for it. Once you start going through the list, you can start seeing the intent. Cheap vacations, Myrtle Beach vacations, inclusive vacations. Each one of those phrases carries a completely different intent. And we can start to learn then that we can develop a keyword list that is focused around what our specialty as a business is. The keyword long tail, a couple of things to remember is that bigger is not always better. Just because one word gets searched on more than others does not mean it's the best word. The keyword long tail runs off that 80-20 principle, and maybe you're familiar with that 20% of your effort makes 80% of your result. See, the long tail is completely different. The 80% of our effort brings 80% of our results. Here's a different way of looking at it. Joe Kraus, who used to work at Excite.com, which was a search engine back in the 90s, they noticed that their top 10 search terms were pretty much the same, and they were monstrously larger than every other search term they received. Of course, at the top, back in the 90s, and there's not too much difference today, the top 3 terms that were being searched on were sex, MP3s, and Britney Spears. And so because they were looking at the amount of searches that those terms received, they developed Excite.com to be more of a pop culture portal so that people can easily access what they were interested in. However, years after Excite.com shut down and went out of business, Joe Kraus went back and looked at all of the information and the search distribution. And what he realized is that even though those terms were the most popular, when you add up all of the search words that people searched on, there were over 10 million words. And when you started adding up the numbers, the popular words only made up 3% of the total searches. Those 10 million terms made up 97% of the searches, and Joe realized that they were trying to monetize 3% of their search traffic. We see the same thing in our analytics, and we see the same thing in online marketing, that the 1 to 2 word phrases that are the most popular, they get searched on the most. More descriptive phrases, they aren't searched on as much. They might bring 1, 2, or 3 people to your site every month or every year, depending upon how descriptive it is. Words that are simple 1 to 2 word phrases that get searched on a lot, they typically don't convert visitors. The words that are more descriptive have more chance of converting visitors. And we'll explore this even further as we go through keyword selection and our analytics. The main reason is because it's a popular word, it's at the beginning of the search cycle. It's at the beginning of the decision cycle. More descriptive phrases are towards the end of the decision cycle, and so people are ready to commit and buy. And even when we look at buying keywords in a pay-per-click format, simple words have the highest cost and the most competition. More descriptive, multiple word phrases, they are low cost and low competition because they become isolated and break apart specific to each business and each market. A different way of looking at this, we worked with one company. Their number one search term brought nearly 50% of the visitors to their website. That number one search term, while bringing 50% of visitors, accounted for 20% of the conversions. Now, there were over 775 keyword variations of that search term. Those over 770 variations brought in 80% of the conversions to the business. And so because his strategy developed the rest of these keyword variations, instead of focusing just on one term, it made the business more profitable. Another example of another customer, their top 30 terms referred about 3,000 visitors in a month. The next 4,000 unique terms referred over 8,000 visitors. The majority of their sales came from 80% of the words, and that was after the top 30 terms, because these were the words people were using when they were ready to buy. So it's important that you select the right words. And remember, a keyword strategy is not just ranking for one word, it's ranking for hundreds or thousands of words that searchers are using to find what you have.